Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all are having a great day and enjoying your winter weather. I wanted to talk today about a little Car and Driver, I believe it was Car and Driver, pretty sure. Car and Driver article about a 2016 Corvette versus a 2016 Shelby GT350. And this is an interesting proposition. And I want to, well, basically, I'll say what they had to say by the end of the article was that the GT350 was their winner as far as a better car is concerned. But I do want to start out by saying, the Corvette is the faster of the two, as it should be. You would expect that. It's a lot lighter. It's a sports car. It's a dedicated sports car, whereas the GT350 is, certainly muscle cars these days are certainly more sports cars than ever, but it's just not quite the same as a Corvette. So the Corvette, still the faster one, on track, straight line, and all that stuff. But nonetheless, still awesome that the GT350 is competing. But I think it's an interesting proposition because take a base Corvette, and you want one with the Z51 package for sure. You definitely want that. But you take a base Corvette Z51 and a GT350 with the track package, and not the, I don't know if you get the technology package or not, but regardless, they're about the same price. They kind of start around like 60 grand, upper 50s, and then you can go on from there. And then, of course, the Corvette gets more expensive than the GT350. I think the most expensive Shelby you can get is like, by the end of everything, like 65-ish or somewhere around there. And the Corvette, I'm pretty sure that even regular Corvettes, non-Z06s, you can get up to almost 80 grand. But don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure, but I think they can get up there regardless. And, it is an interesting thing to think about that you got a Corvette now competing, or you got a Mustang now, rather, competing with a Corvette. And I was honestly pretty surprised by their conclusion in the article to say that the GT350 was the better car. But, it shows how awesome that car really is. From my opinion, having not driven the GT350, I can't really say, but I've driven a lot of Mustangs, and I've also owned a Corvette pretty extensively. And what I will say is this, for that to be even a close comparison, that Mustang must be like mind-blowing, because the Corvette is, and again, anybody who watches my channel knows, I'm not a biased fanboy. I'm not brand loyal or car loyal or anything, but that Corvette was a fantastic car, and I don't think there's anybody that disputes that the Corvette competes on a world scale with anything. Take your pick, 911s, whatever. The Corvette's just right up there with the best of the world. The handling was fantastic. I love that car, and it was so great at what it does, so great at being a sports car. So, for them to say that the Mustang is even close to that is already a compliment in and of itself. I was surprised, though. Some of their complaints about the Corvette was they didn't like the steering, they didn't like the shifter feel, and, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with the shifter feel. I'd say that it was very direct and very precise, and it felt very good. But, comparing it to the GT350, which may have been better, I can't say. I've never driven that car. The steering in the Corvette, I always found to be very good and very responsive. I always felt like I knew exactly where the front wheels were. But again, they compare a lot of cars, whereas I only have driven a few. So, yeah, I really can't say. And it's a tough article for me to even talk about without having driven the GT350. But I just wanted to kind of mention it because I think it's pretty fantastic. The GT350, again, I would definitely consider buying a 350R. Regular 350, not that the 350R and the 350 are that much different. I would just want the R because it's a little bit more rare and a little bit cooler in my eyes. But, either one, they're essentially the same car. The R is just, lighter, has the carbon fiber wheels, no back seats, that kind of stuff. So, with that in mind, the Corvette is, like I said, an amazing car, but out of the two, which one would I pick? Now, it's interesting because the Mustang is, again, heavier. It's like 3,800 pounds, whereas the Corvette is about 3,300 pounds, a little bit heavier, maybe 3,400, depending on all the options that you get. But out of the two, which one would I pick? Having not driven them, again, I've said that so many times in this article, but I don't want anybody to get, the wrong ideas. If, having not done that, I can't really say. But I think out of the two, I would still rather pick the Corvette. Just from a look standpoint alone, I prefer the Corvette to the Mustang. And also, the GT350, although how great and special it is, it just looks like every other Mustang. And that's not going to bother some people. It wouldn't really bother me. I wouldn't say it would bother me, but, for that money and to get something a little bit special, I want something that stands out a little bit. And the Corvette, Corvettes suffer from the same thing. You buy a Corvette and you see a million other ones all the time. So I guess it's not really fair to say that. But the Corvette to me looks a little bit more exotic, a little bit more, well, it does. It looks more like a sports car. It's very small and more of a two-door Not that the Mustang isn't two doors, but you know, it doesn't have back seats, so the back is very short as opposed to the Mustang, which does have back seats and a whole trunk and everything, whereas the Corvette's almost like a kind of a coupe hatchback type deal. But you know, I just wanted to point that out because I think it's awesome that the GT350 is even competing with the Mustang. The fact that it's, you know, not faster on the track or anything, but the fact that a major car magazine would pick that car and say that it's more fun to drive than the Corvette, I was just shocked because you know, the Corvette, like I said, having extensive ownership experience with it, it was amazing. So, you know, just another notch on the Shelby GT350's belt here, and another thing to consider as I go into potentially buying my next car at some point in the near future. So definitely something I want to keep in mind. It must be, like I said earlier, it must be one hell of a car. And, you know, a flat plane crank V8, naturally aspirated, that's definitely something special. So, you know, props to Ford and to the GT350R. I'd like to do my own comparison, having driven the Corvette for a long time, because I'm not convinced. And maybe, you know, maybe it is the part of me, nice STI over there, STI noises. But you know, maybe it's the part of me that owned the Corvette and I still am partial to that, but I'm still not totally convinced. But regardless, you know, I can't knock the GT350 for being as great as it is. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe and take care. Have a great day.